Hello YouTube and hello viewers, and welcome back to yet another episode of creating our community project, well, our online game community project shall I say. My name's Wayne and I've been taking you for all these amazing episodes so far. I think we're up to like lesson 7 already. That's absolutely insane. It's crazy how quickly I'm turning out these videos and things. So good news is I've decided I'm not going to get you guys to code anymore, because I'm getting so many emails coming through with people that are making some mistakes and etc. with code, and I'm really struggling to keep up with them, to be honest. So what I have done is I've actually completed all the code for you, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And basically you just have to update your gameinfo.php page with all the information that I've got in mind. Obviously you change things in the queries and stuff, for example column names and stuff, if you have changed the names of them, which is really important, so please do that, and I'll show you exactly how to do that in a second. But what we're going to look at primarily in this session is it's actually split into 2 parts. Part 1 is going to be creating the game instance for the game, and that's where we're going to hold all the user information. So that's why I decided to give you all the code, so we can just make this into 2 parts. So we need that. That's going to be part 1. Then part 2 would be then constructing our login system for UE4. I'm actually going to do both videos together, so they'll both be released on the same day. So just depending on upload speeds and things like that, they should be pretty much all together as one piece. So without further ado, actually before I start, I just want to say a very big thank you to Gary Murphy, who donated £10 to the channel. Thank you very much for that. Greatly appreciated. So without further ado, let's move on. So what I've done for you is I've actually put the whole code together for you. We got up to this part, which was the first function. We did all that together as a group. But what I did do after that is I put everything else together for you. For example, getting all the user information and etc. I've tried to comment it as much as I could for you, so you'd understand where each function is. A big thanks to the guy that makes, was it Spark or something, that did the online and offline stuff. That greatly helped me with making this section. But apart from that, everything else is all here for you that we require for the next session. So what I really need you to do is do this first. Grab everything off the description just below. So pause the video. In the description below is this file with all the stuff that you need. Please grab that information, put it into yours, and save over your gameinfo.php page. Otherwise, what you're going to do next is not going to work. So very important that you do this. Okay, so we're not here to talk about PHP script anymore. So we'll just ignore that for now. So let's just minimize that. And let's go into our project. So this is where we're going to be working today. And we're going to be doing all our work inside Unreal. So I said, as this session, part 1 is going to be about creating our game instance, where we're going to get all the user information which we need for the project. For example, is he online, usernames, emails, and all that sort of jazz. And I'm going to show you how it actually works, so you get to see it actually working in your web browser. And then obviously the next session will then work on the login system. Okay, so first of all, you should have a blueprints folder. What I'd like you to do in that blueprint folder is I'd like you to right click, and we're going to make a new blueprint class. And this is going to be a game instance. So if we type in game, there we go, it's right there. So game instance. So basically the game instance is going to control all the information that we want to have about the user. Now this is really important because we're going to put things like variables and stuff inside this instance that we can call in the login system. So it saves us doing a lot of work and makes our life a little bit more easier on information that we require. So I want you to click on game instance, so double click or just say select, and we can call this GI for game instance, and I'm just going to call mine _YouTube. You can call yours whatever you like for your game, but don't forget this thing's going to hold the majority of stuff we want to control inside our game. So before we move on, we need to change the game instance within the game. So if we go to edit, project settings, maps and modes, you can see we've got a game instance class just below right at the bottom. We want to change that to our game instance YouTube. This is really important that you do this, otherwise again it's not going to work how we want it to work. So please make sure you do choose that instance, because don't forget that's controlling the majority of everything we're going to work with. Once that's complete, I want you to double click on that, and we're actually going to start doing some blueprinting. So what we're going to do is we're going to make custom event, because obviously we're not going to do event begin play or anything like that. And we want to get the user information. Okay, so we want to grab all the user information we can. I had a bit of a grammatical error, but it doesn't really matter for now. Okay, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to build a very big JSON request, or URL shall I say, and we want to grab all the information we can about that user. So what we need to do is we're going to drag off this node. I'm going to say apply URL. Now it's not going to show straight away because don't forget this is a JSON plugin, and I haven't really made any function for it. So just turn off your context sensitive, and you'll notice that there is an apply URL request from the var rest. Now remember, you have to have this plugin installed. You can always check if you go to edit plugins, go into your networking, and you should have var rest there. Make sure it's enabled. Thanks again very much to Vladimir who made this plugin. Makes things a lot more easier for us when we need to communicate to web servers and etc. Okay, so again, type in apply URL, and we're just going to select that. And basically it's asking me for two things, a target and a URL that I need to put in. Now this URL string is going to be massive, and we can't type it all in here because there's specific information that we require. But we can do the target. Now the target is basically we're going to construct a JSON request. So just down below, so construct a JSON request. And basically this is saying, okay, we want to make a JSON request with this URL that we're going to apply here using this get information here. And if we look at our code, we've got a ton of gets all in our code here, and that's exactly what we want. Okay. Now the URL itself is pretty big, so you're going to have to bear with us with this one because it's quite a big one. So we're going to just drag off this, and we're going to say append. Now we're going to append the string, and this is going to be broken into like loads of pins, and I'll explain each one of them to you. So the first one we need here is the URL of the server. Now what I tend to do is I put them all as variables. You could type it into here if you like, but I find that, oh my god, that's just a mission if you want to grab information over and over again. So I'm just going to make some variables. So the first one's going to be URL, and that's going to be a nice pink string. Okay, so it's going to be a string. And that URL is basically the URL of our server. So this 127. So if I had to type in localhost, you should get this localhost and then your port number. Copy that and then just paste that in. Well, we need to compile first, and then paste it into the URL. Make sure that / is there, otherwise it's not going to work. So yeah, very important that you make sure that's there. And we're just going to get the URL, and we're going to drag that into pin A. Okay, so don't forget this is the URL we're going to, so obviously we need that first. Obviously, if you had a different web host, for example, www.idon'tknow.com, obviously that would be the HTTP location you want to send to. Now, let me remind you that the way I'm doing it now is not the secure way. So make sure that if you are making a game and you're going to release it to the public, make sure that you look at security and things like that. For now, we're not bothered because I'm just showing you how it all works. So the next one we need is the name of the page. Now again, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to make another variable, and I'm going to call this info page. All right, and that's basically the name of the page that we want to target. And the name of the page is called gameinfo.php. So we're just going to put that into here. So gameinfo.php. Okay, just compile that. And then we can just obviously get that page and plug it in. So we're saying, okay, we're going to go to localhost, then onto this page here. And then what do we need? Well, it's not really important just yet because we're not going to get all the user information as yet. But basically, we're going to then need, we need to get the registry key that the user has used, because don't forget the registry key is unique to that player. All right, so this RK. Now I'm going to show you exactly where that is. So if we go down, if we keep going all the way down, you'll notice that under the second function that I've got here, you'll notice that there is something called RK, right, which is the reg key, and that's going to grab all the user information here. All right, so all the information. So that's the second function, and we name that RK. That's why inside Unreal, I'm saying, okay, well, if RK equals, and then obviously I need that person's key. So we're going to make another variable for that one, and we're going to call this user key. And don't forget that's unique to him. So that's his, for example, is, I don't know, is CD key or digital key you're going to give them. Now we can leave that blank for now because we're going to fill that in our login page, but let's just drag that in anyways, get that and plug that into D. All right, so basically saying, okay, URL, the page, which is the gameinfo.php, we want to get the guy's user key. Once we've got that, we then want to get the function name. All right, now this is interesting, the function name. Now don't forget I said this is our second function. So the actual name of the function is stuff, and then we broke it into another array, which was user info here. So we want to get stuff. So we want to get the stuff information. So as you can see, each one's called stuff, right? So each one of them is called stuff. So we want to grab that. So again, you could either make a variable for this. I don't mind. I'm just going to call it fname for function name, because we're going to be using this quite a lot because they're all the same name. So, and if I remember correctly, we put and stuff. We're about to do everything on the fly, so I try and remember as much as I can. So, and stuff equals, and then we can just plug that function name into there. And then that function name is going to equal whatever the function that all the user information's in. All right, and that function here is called user info. So we can just quite easily copy this, saves me writing it. So user info, and we want to plug that in into the F. So I'm going to paste it into there. Okay, so let me show you this working. So if I happen to go on my internet browser, okay, and let's do it manually. So if I open up the project, we've got the URL, so let's copy this. So copy, Alt-Tab, nice. And paste that in, Alt-Tab back again. Then we want the info page, so let's just get the info page. So let's copy that and paste that in. So basically I'm just building the string as you can see it. Then we want this information, the RK, so let's put that after that. So I'm just putting it all together as a puzzle. And then we need a key, so let's just jump into our database and just rob key. So here we've got one here for you already. So the reg key, just copy that code and then paste it after the equal sign. Right, so paste it after that. And then we need the function name. So it's stuff, so we're going to copy that and put that at the end of that. And then obviously we need this user info section here, and we're going to paste that at the end. And if I press enter, it should return me a JSON request of status online. My username is Wazza. My email address is so, banned no, kills none, wins none. And if we have a look at my notepad, all right, so let me just make it a little bit bigger for you. So you can see what it's pulled is the information here. So the status, username, oops, shouldn't have clicked, email, banned, kills, wins, and then obviously it's bringing the information from the database here and just filling in the information on each one of those. So that's how you can see if it's actually working, if you actually just put the whole string into your section. Now remember, I just copied and pasted this. We're actually going to grab that off the login section, but yeah, we're just setting it up for now, so it's just a little bit more easier for the login section. Okay. So we can see it's working, but we need to actually grab all the information that we need, just so it's we can get it set up and ready to go. Now this could be long and strenuous, so please bear with me. So we want to drag off here. I'm going to say get field. Now it's the JSON, and we're going to get the field, and we've got I can't remember how many fields we got. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fields. So we're going to copy this 6 times over. So Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V. Now, depending on how much information you want to grab from the user, you'd have to then do this as many times as that, depending on how many you want to grab. So just plug all these into the targets, so the results that we want to get. And then basically we're just going to fill in all the field names. So we've got status. So I'm going to try to do this as quick as I can. Status. Then we've got username. So make sure all the spelling and everything's all correct. Otherwise, it will come across some errors. So we want to grab the email. So basically, we're just going to store these into variables for us. So band. I count wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, that's right. How many did I put in? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, jeez. Come on. You can't even count now. And we'll plug that one in. As you can see, it starts getting spaghetti junction. You can sort it out how you want. Just kills. Now just type the next one. So kills and then wins at the bottom. Okay. So that's basically grabbing all the information. So what was in this JSON string? So status, username, email, band, no, and sorry, kills and wins. And now we want to store these into variables. Okay, so we just want to put them into variables. But before we do that, we need to start putting them as strings. Oops, sorry, I've brought up my recording software for some reason. Oh, I've done it again. Alt tab, you're not working for me. What is going on? Okay, so all we do is we're just going to drag over this node and say as strings. So we want to turn them into strings. And sadly, we're going to have to copy and paste this all the way through. So just put them all next to them. So this is a long and strenuous task, but this is what you have to do when it comes to online systems. And we can just drag each one of those to there. Now, we couldn't put it all into one because it wouldn't work. But yeah. So the first one we want to do is we want to return, let's do the username first, shall we? So we'll do the username. So let's make a variable for that. So we're going to make a new variable. I'm going to call that username, and that's going to be still a string. And we're going to say set. So we're going to set the username. Okay, we can plug that into the complete. So we set the username. The next one we want to do is get the person's email. So we're going to get an email. You don't have to grab the email, but I find it quite nice if I grab all the information. It's easier for me. So I'm going to grab the email. Next one is, are they banned? So we want to get that one. So we're going to get another variable, banned. And we're just going to drag that on. I'm going to set that. You can see it's just a long line of nodes. And then kills is slightly different because kills is going to be integer. So I'll just have that as kills, and that's going to be an integer. And we're just going to do the same, might as well do it now. And we're just going to have wins, and that's also going to be an integer. So we're going to get those. Oh, let's use the set then. Set wins set. Plug those in like that. And then obviously we just plug these in. So we've got kills. Let's plug that into kills. And then we got wins. And we'll plug that into wins. Now you might find a better solution, but this is what I found works for me at the moment. So yeah, this is just how I find it. And then the last one we want to do is we actually want to set up a Boolean to check if he's online or not. So let's make another variable. And we're going to call this B. The Boolean underscore, we'll just call it stat for status, and obviously we're going to change that to a Boolean. Okay, so we change that to a Boolean, and basically we're going to say, well, if this is equal to and equal to, so if the string is equal to, now remember we have online or we don't have another one, which is probably offline, I suppose we'll call it. And then obviously we want to set this. So we're going to set that, our status. So if it's online, we want to set that to true. Okay. Could have done that first actually, but I just thought I'd leave the little bit more complicated bit to the end. So that's pretty much setting up the JSON request to grab all our user information. Very important that you make sure you grab everything that's required. Make sure you name them all correctly, very important. And make sure you set this up. Always check it first. So like I did, put it into the address bar just to see if it is working. And yeah, that's pretty much everything for the game instance that we need. So let's just comment that out. So we're going to call this get user information. Probably spelled that wrong. No, I didn't. Nice. Okay, so get user information. So we'll leave it there for now because the video is getting close to 20 minutes. So yeah, create this. Remember, make sure that you grab my new file, which has got all the code in that you're going to need. So please make sure you do grab that. Replace your gameinfo.php and then start setting up your game instance. So remember, we saved the game instance into our blueprints, made a new game instance, right click, blueprint class, and then we typed in game instance, and then we made one of them, called it GI YouTube, then made sure that we set our game instance in our project settings, so maps and modes, and we set our game instance to be YouTube. So that was all set up. And then what we then needed to do was create all the nodes. So we created the JSON request to the URL that we require, grab the information that we had in our address bar, so status, username, email, banned, kills, wins. I mean, if you had more coming off here, then obviously you'd need to add that into your database, but you could add it into the code down here. So just copy and paste the new line and then add everything you need. But just remember, you bind whatever you put into your database here for that section. So anything you want to grab out of your table or etc. for that section. Okay, so I'm going to call that a session. Hopefully that brought some insight into creating a URL string for a JSON request. My name's Wayne. It was very nice taking you for this session. I hope you enjoyed it. And remember to like the video. If you really enjoy my channel, don't forget to subscribe. And if you really like my channel, then maybe drop a donation. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next part. Goodbye.